Hologram. Would you like to meet the crew? Have a chat?
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
No. You two had a chat before. I guess she doesn't talk, so... that does kind of cut the whole thing short, doesn't it?
Good. Well done. Now for the festivities and your part in all this. The owner of the Sierra Madre, for whatever reason, keyed the grand opening to the gala event itself. It needs to be fired off in order for the casino doors to open. As I discovered, one person can't do it. So get your team into position indicated on your Pip-Boy, then trigger it properly. You're so close now, don't let me down. Otherwise, I'll have to rely on the next team.
How am I supposed to get to the markers on my map?
I've unlocked the west and east gates to Puesta del Sol and Salida del Sol. Now that you've survived the villa, I need to get to my position. You don't need me to hold your hand anymore. I'll keep monitoring you via the transceivers through the villa. If I need to offer guidance, I will.
What is the gala event?
A display of lights, fireworks, music in the streets. A pre-war festival to mark the casino's opening. The bombs struck first. It is of no consequence, only firing the event is. Get the three in position, and travel to your position in Salida del Sol and trigger the gala. After that, the real work begins.
The real work? What was this, a warm-up?
Perhaps you think this is a simple robbery, a cheap casino heist. No, this is a heist of the centuries. We're not plundering Sierra Madre. We're plundering history, taking from the old world itself. It won't let its secrets go easily, not without a fight. I wouldn't expect anything less.
We'll head out then.
I'd suggest taking the FEV reject to his position first. Although you may need his brutality and strength elsewhere first. As easy as the villa was to navigate, the outlying areas of the villa are far more dangerous, thicker with the ghost people, traps, and toxins. Use your team as I use you. Listen to your caller. Watch where you step. You are no use to me dead.
So now do I take them all to their destinations one by one, basically? Sheen's looking at the fountain, her eyes narrow. She scans the courtyard perimeter, gauging the distance. She glances at your wrist, then back to the fountain. That's the hologram projector in the fountain. What of it? She rolls her eyes, opens her mouth to speak, then stops, her face tensing up in frustration. She circles her fingers around the fountain and moves her fingers and thumb together rapidly as if talking. She frowns, stops moving her hand, then points at the Pip-Boy at your wrist. Show her the Pip-Boy. Christine studies the Pip-Boy intently, turning your arm around as if the wrist sensor module. Your wrist a sensor she found. She doesn't seem interested in the screen. She studies the exterior, then the casing. She seems to be making sure it's intact. No worries, I'll just stand here like a piece of furniture until you're done. Her finger stabs at the red buttons, narrowing it in the local map. She scrolls the Sierra Madre's main gate, frowns, calls up local map, zooms in, her intent expression losing some of its edge. She knows the marker. She looks at you and points the marker, and the Pip-Boy points to the west and tilts her head. Why do you think he wants you to go to Puesta del Sol switching station? She frowns and makes a motion as if typing in keys, then points at you, raises her left wrist and pantomimes talking to it. She points to you, then her left to right, raised finger, pause, slowly shakes her. I'm not gonna parse what she's going for when I can't look at what she's doing to see the animations play out, and reading has to happen so fast for me to even parse what it all is supposed to indirectly indicate. Neither Dean nor Dog have the technical aptitude to man the switching station. She slowly nods, looks impressed. An auto dock really carved you up. She frowns, narrows her eyes, and looks at you. I don't understand why they shaved you bald. Christine looks blankly, then touches her head, smiles, and shakes her head. Wait, the auto dock didn't shave you bald? She waves her hand, then shakes her head, then nods in the direction of the casino. No, wait, I want to hear this. You were bald before? She nods with an exasperated look, then makes a circle with her hands, repeats it twice more, raises her hands and waves them, puts her hands in front of her, makes a motion, and her hands is ringing something. Wait, that's a Brotherhood of Steel symbol, right? You're a scribe. She nods, looks impressed. How the hell did you get out here? She shrugs, then points at you and shrugs. Okay. Same way we did. Where were you before? She moves her fingers in a wider circle and raises her hand over her eyes. You were looking for someone? She nods and raises a finger. A robot? She shakes her head and pumps her fist near her chest. A woman? She shakes her head, then stops midway, frowns, and tilts her head as if thinking she might be lost in thought for a moment. She glances at you as a cop, then smiles slightly, but there's an edge to it. She shakes her head slowly, once. So it seems to be implying that she's gay, and she thought she shouldn't say so. But I am too! I had some other questions. Things would be a lot easier if you did one snap for yes, two snaps for no. She smiles humorlessly, then nods once slowly, then she shakes her head slowly. Then she looks at you, her face wrinkled in a humorless smile. What are you shaking and nodding for? She looks frustrated, then makes a dismissive wave. I'm not the one trying to communicate with hand motions. She gives you a snarl, glances at your collar, then makes a dismissive wave. Like I would kill you if it didn't kill me too. Can't you communicate some other way? Can you write? Christine frowns and pauses and traces one of the scars on her forehead with her finger. And she makes a motion as if picking up a pencil, tries to write, then shakes her head. Something to do with the surgery. She pauses, then draws a jagged symbol with like electricity in the air, then puts it on an odd, staring face. She keeps the face blank for a second, then slowly blinks, looks around, looks at her hands, takes them, lets them go limp. So she's still technically inclined, and she can communicate, but she can't write anymore? It's a rather specific form of operation. She looks distant, then slowly shakes her head. Do you know how to get out of here? She points in the direction of the main gate, then points at your collar, shakes her head, then locks her hands around her neck. And her hands lash outward, fingers played, she rolls her eyes back, then a second she turns back to you and shakes her head. So once the collars are gone, we could just leave? She nods slowly as if thinking, and then raises an eyebrow, looking skeptical, then shrugs. She points downward, then makes a circle around her, then back to the same spot, then the finger drifts, circling, and makes a mock frown. I have no idea what you're saying. Again. She looks frustrated, then makes a dismissive wave. How did you end up in the auto dock? She moves a finger in a circle, frowns, and drags her hand down over her eyes, then raises them again, points to you. Did you get gassed like I did? She nods, raises an eyebrow, points to you, makes a circle, points at your feet. Did you circle the area, or... She repeats the circling motion again. This time she lowers her hand and circles her fingers inward until she's pointing at the spot between you. She's pointing at the ground between you two. She raises an eyebrow. Followed a radio signal here. A woman's voice. She waits. After a second, she raises her eyebrow again. I was curious where it led. She looks at you for a second, studying you, then nods. She points at you, then points to the casino, and slowly shakes her head, then points in the direction of the main gate. Are you saying it's one or the other? She frowns, glances in the direction of the casino, then exit, then back in the direction of the casino. She shrugs, without strength or conviction. She isn't looking at you when she does. What about you? She slowly shakes her head, then points to the ground. Like she's not going to leave, she means? What weapons are you skilled at? Draws a ragged lightning bolt in the air, pantomiming throwing a grenade, then pulls an imaginary knife from behind her back. She moves her feet, shoulder to both apart, with hands up in the martial arts stance, and both hands. Pulls one pistol up, takes aim, and sighting the barrel, single shot, ends with a nod. So everything, sounds like. Energy weapons, explosives, melee, unarmed, and guns. Is that all? She nods once. Do you know what those machines around the villa are? Christine shakes her head, then pauses and makes a small circle with her thumb and forefinger. He points at you, then makes a motion of putting something in her palm. Here's a Sierra Madre chip. I'll need that back. She examines the chip for a second, raises her eye, then turns it to the side, gauging its diameter and width. She runs a finger over the surface slowly, checking the engraving, then tosses the chip back to you. She then pretends to look around, sees something on the floor, pretends to bend down and pick it up, then she looks at you and nods. You can make more? She frowns, looks frustrated for a moment, thinking. She stands still for a second, then stops and slowly makes the motion of bending down and scooping something up. Then holds the imaginary object over her head as if heavy and puts it in front of her as if on the table. She then hefts what looks like a small box, pours on the object and looks at it and reaches down and holds up a small 0. You can make more of those at a workbench with the right materials. She smiles, nods. She points at your Pip-Boy, makes a motion of opening it and removing something from it. She then raises her hand and makes the motion of smashing it, holding up the remains. You need a battery, a fission battery, and scrap metal? And you can counterfeit the chips. She nods, impressed, then points at you, then her, then makes a circle. Can you teach me how to do it? She nods, then makes a series of hand motions to represent weights and amounts, enough that you think you could do it on your own. Now I can make my own chips. Fission batteries and scrap metal. I think we should travel together. Christine nods. Christine has given you the signal interference perk. This perk grants you a short period of time near a speaker where the bomb collar starts to activate, as well as increasing the amount of time before your bomb collar detonates by 50%. So it's speaker resistance, essentially. Okay.
If that
Whew.
wasn't wearing a collar.
What, you looking to kill her? You gonna be a problem, buddy? Hollow rifle damage. Laser pistol. 32 DPS. 42 DPS. Oh, so you can have both of the laser weapons. Now she's all decked up in armor and has a weapon. So that's a good start there. I don't know if we chatted much.
Was that him floating above the fountain, the boss man? The one who put these bow ties on our necks? Sure does like to make a presentation. We should keep it down or else the ghost people are going to swarm the gates, Vira hologram or no.
Know anything about this gala event we're supposed to trigger?
Supposed to be the grand opening of the Sierra Madre. Lots of lights, music, the works. And he's going to use the gala event to open the casino? But that's interesting.
Why, it sure is interesting. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah. Maybe the drain in power. That'll cause the security systems to shut down enough to let us in. But getting back out? No, the place will close up tighter than an opening at the Fronds. Or Danny Parker's sphincter when he has to tip a doorman.
Just the tip? How is the gala tied to the casino? That makes no sense.
Right, look. So, not everything about the villa was the pinnacle of bright ideas. In order to pull off the gala, old Sinclair had to get creative. The Sierra Madre announcement, for example. Not just for the casino, not at all. The gala's tied to the casino, draws on its power. Might cause it to reset itself, open the doors for a bit like it was supposed to.
What do you mean by the Sierra Madre podcast? Broadcast?
Well, Vera's beautiful voice doesn't run on casino power, exactly. Her broadcast is tied into the emergency broadcast signal for the Sierra Madre. You know, in case of attack. Well, guess what? The night of the gala event, the emergency signal went out all right. But because the broadcast had been hooked up to the gala event, instead of an emergency signal, you get Vera's voice on the radio. Great, huh?
So, it's not an invitation, it's a call for help.
Yeah, the Sierra Madre's last song, one only a few people are ever going to hear. A little sad, but what can you do?
According to the marker, you're slated for a spot in Puerto del Sol.
No, looks like a rooftop in Puerto del Sol. In better days, nice view. Now, it's the last place anyone wants to stand when this event goes off. That place during spring, summer and fall, a little bit in winter, is a prime resort spot for ghost people. Not the best of neighborhoods. If we're going there, I'm not going alone. And if you have any bright ideas about telling me to stroll over there, or leave me there, no thanks.
Any idea why he wants you there?
Partner, I'm not sure this guy's operating with a full deck. My bet? Process of elimination, lowest common denominator. He figures the strong man's needed somewhere, even if it sounds like the strong man's two minds about it. Plus, I'm guessing wherever old doggy boy's needed doesn't need smarts. I hope not. Or we're royally jonesed.
What about Christine?
Christine, that her name? Nice name. I mean, you can't see it on posters, but never mind. I don't know. She might need to hold some place where speaking isn't important. Like stage tech? Lighting? Got me. And me? I've had prime billing in Europe, New York, and this gig doesn't feel like that. Don't get me wrong, I can hold an audience, conduct a score from the rooftops, but I'm guessing I'm the odd man out in this whole heist.
I'm not following you.
Odd man out, dead weight. Someone you need holding the toolbox, the nurse passing the scalpel, the chauffeur driving you to the concert. Any guy with hands is who he needs up on that rooftop. Guess he thinks I don't rate looking like I do. Poor him.
I don't think nurses are dead weight.
It's your time, and if you want to spend it chatting, not much I can do about it.
Have other people shown up in search of the Sierra Madre?
Tourists, you bet. They don't stay long. And they don't stay alive long. If they survive the cloud, the ghost people, the traps, then greed takes over. And they start sizing each other up for funeral suits.
So the visitors all killed each other.
Sure. First they figure they can get out, escape. Then they start thinking it over, start thinking about how they can have it all. They start weighing the odds, taking risks, and then taking each other out. Bomb collars or not. Although, it's odd. The bomb collars weren't linked before like they are now. Guess someone learned what the problem was.
What happened to the people who came to the villa?
Dead. Either got killed by one of the villa's attractions, locals, or the beautiful weather. Can tell you right now, they didn't stick close to each other, and when they did, they let down their guard at the wrong moment. Some left signposts to others trying to help them out. Just led to them getting killed by someone a little more greedy than they were.
Any advice to get through this?
Well, considering my life's on the line too, yeah. A few things. First off, keep everyone together. Keep checking behind you. Make sure your partners are following. Don't let them wander. Also, don't go running crazy everywhere. Almost every inch of this town is lethal. So if you're not sure, take it real slow. And speaking of slow, don't go shouting or attracting attention. Go quiet. The ghost people find you, it's over.
The ghost people. They're the only ones alive around here?
Alive's a tricky word. The locals, the ghost people, not sure it applies to them. They're a little uncivilized. They don't talk much, as in at all.
Have you tried to deal with them?
Tried talking to them, bribing them, leaving food. Nothing. In the years since, they haven't changed their approach, but I sure have. They catch you, they drag you into the cloud, and you're not coming back out. After that, having your necktie go off would be mercy. My advice? Stay out of their way. They don't die easy.
How tough are they?
You shoot them, they get back up. You stab them, they get back up.
No, they don't.
That's why I have explosives all over this place. Unless you blow them up, chop them up, disintegrate them, the ghost people don't go down. Not enough bullets in the town to spend on them. So unless you're a real good shot, save one for yourself right before they catch you.
I'm not a bad shot. I could probably kill one.
Yeah, well, probably is something a gambler says, not a survivor. I'd keep your pistol where it belongs, in the holster.
Where'd they come from?
Friend, there's more mysteries in heaven and earth. Wait, no. There is more between heaven and earth. Oh, forget it. I'd sooner ask what makes me an undying son of a bitch than spend any thought as to why they call to life here. I'm counting myself lucky I still have my faculties. They sure don't. Then again, they may not have had the focus I do.
Focus?
Always had the Sierra Madre to keep my mind occupied. Most folks, they don't have the same drive, the same need. Not worth my time. Pretty much ghost people before the bomb, now ghost people after.
You're calling other human beings NPCs, basically. I guess they essentially went hollow. Is the same logic. Like, he specifically had something that kept him focused. Interesting that this DLC came out probably the same year as Dark Souls. Oh, that's weird to go back and line up the timing there. It's a bit of a surprise to go back and think like, oh right, New Vegas only came out 1 year before Skyrim. Is there anything else I should know about him?
Whatever we do, don't rile them up. Normally there's only a few, maybe a pack. There's more out there, a lot more. If they find out someone's trespassing, it'd be shaking a hornet's nest. Don't want to think how many of them could fill these streets. Of course you do. Let's hear them.
I found one of your villa's stashes. Why do you leave them around the villa?
Why? Survival. I still needed to leave the residential area to scrounge up supplies, and I don't like taking chances. The villa's dangerous, so I left weapons and stims in case I got in a tight spot. And of course you show up putting your mitts on everything. I suppose this qualifies as an emergency, so I'm not complaining. Much.
Scrounge supplies, like what?
I still need to eat. At least I think I do. The villa provides, even if it's not as glamorous as the Cantina Madrid. Once I, well, realized what you could scrounge up around here, I had a lot of time to experiment. Not the best chef, but, well, here's the mix, if you can stomach it. I call it a Sierra Madre Martini.
I'm amused that, like, even he's not sure about the rules. Like, I don't know, man. I had to eat before, and now I'm a ghoul. I haven't really tested my limits. Probably need to eat, right? Always in the mood for another drink. What's the recipe?
Scrape some cloud residue off the walls, mash it in a tin can with some junk food from the machines, then hold your nose and down it.
Ew.
There's electric hot plates around if you can't find a campfire to mix it at. Also, there's other recipes you can do with the cloud residue, although it might take a hardier survivalist than me to brew them. I stick to martinis.
Ew. Junk food. Junk food's especially weird because it's just an ambiguous substance. You can't even tell what it means because junk food is a category, not a food.
It's your time, and if you want to spend it chatting, not much I can do about it.
Before, you mentioned the hologram at the fountain. Vera? Do you know her?
Yeah, don't you? Or guess Vera Keys got lost along with the rest of the hollow archives when the bomb hit, huh? Ghost in name and image. Still a looker, though. Got to hand it to Sinclair. Sure can pick him. Well, or get picked. Whichever.
Can you tell me about her?
Vera was a big star back before the bomb. Not the best actress, but, well, she had other talents. Nice voice, nice legs. For some reason, Sinclair, he built this place. She caught his eye. Once he was hooked, that was it. Had to have her. So made the introductions, and guess what? He builds this place for her like some kind of Cleopatra obsession. Wasn't always a death trap.
Introductions? You knew her before?
Of course. What? Some kind of surprise to you that I knew people once? Used to have my name in lights, all right? Knew a dozen Veras, or whatever her name was. Vera Keys. Figured I could pay Sinclair back. Introduce the two. Guy was a slouch in the dame department, had to pick up the slack somehow.
He has to, like, retroactively hype himself up by pretending he doesn't remember her name clearly, even though he already said it before. What are the vending machines all over town?
Those little company stores. Sinclair's toy boxes. Put in a casino chip, get a treat. Like you're some dog doing tricks. Take any of the casino chips, put them into the machine, and you'll get something out. A snack, a cola, something to mend a tear in your shirt. Sometimes you have to know exactly what to ask for. Other times, there's codes for, unconventional items. For emergencies.
What other items can you get out of the machines?
If it's an emergency, you can get chems for any, condition. Sinclair left that for doctors and trained professionals, not the common folk. Even security and maintenance could get special supplies out of them. Staff had codes on little cards they could use to unlock them.
A lot of this does feel like Andrew Ryan's Rapture on some level. But down to those, like, specific devices. Or an attempt at something like that. Where can I find these cards?
Around. Don't have much use for them myself. Not worth the risk to get them. I got all the basics covered as long as I have the chips to pay for them. I don't need much.
Pretty sure I've already found like 20 on my own. Never seen machines like those before.
Yeah, well, machines like those weren't unusual before the bomb. Maybe to you they're amazing. To me, they're grifters without the personality.
Grifters?
Sinclair made sure if you spent money here, it went one direction. Although that's not how he described it.
How did he describe it?
Called it self-sufficient. Like he was doing the residents a favor. Right. Of course.
Tell me about the cloud.
The cloud showed up after the bomb, I think. I got used to it in small doses. Now it covers the city. Over the years, it kept climbing up out of the Sierra Madre until it was curtains for the sun. Didn't see the sky again. Doesn't seem to bother the ghost people. Can't see through it too well, though, so sometimes I can use the cloud for cover. If I get desperate.
So it feels pretty radiation-y, even though it's not giving me rads, apparently, because I've never gotten rads while I've been here.
Of course you do. Let's hear them.
What can you tell me about the villa in the town?
Residential area, clinic, police station. Should keep away from the police station. It's a ghost people hangout. Salida del Sol, Puesta del Sol are East Town, West Town. Sunrise and sunset.
Sunrise, sunset.
Or were when the streets and sky weren't covered with toxic gas. Ghost people don't come into the villa much. West Town and East Town, though, they're thick with the cloud and ghost people. Like hunting grounds.
What weapons are you skilled with?
Not one for fighting, if we can avoid it. Still, wasn't bad at the pistol range. And over the years, I've learned how to handle a knife. And explosives a bit. A bit. Made a lot of mistakes along the way. Still have my fingers, though.
That's enough for now.
I'd shed a tear, but I'm sure we'll be chatting again.
We're heavy on the dialogue around here. Okay. Whew. It's good to dig through it, though. They're textured little characters. Makes me wonder what is going on with the Villa Madre if... That's not what it's called, right? I got the name wrong. But it makes me wonder what they're specifically valuing from it. If he wanted it before the bombs fell and still wants it after the bombs fell, despite all known value systems largely being changed by that event.